All right, so let's take a look at the 3 notes. Example 1 says, use your unit circle to find the exact values of the following. Cosine of 11 pi over 4. Well, 11 pi over 4 is not on our unit circle because 11 pi over 4 is greater than 2 pi. So I'm going to find the angle that is coterminal with that. So remember, we may have to add or subtract 2 pi to find the coterminal angle. So I'm going to subtract 2 pi from this, but 2 pi in fourths is really 8 pi over 4. So this is going to be equivalent to the cosine of 3 pi over 4. And then I can use my unit circle because 3 pi over 4 is on our unit circle, and the cosine there is negative square root of 2 over 2. Okay, sine of negative 1/3. Sine of negative 1/3. Again, I'm going to add 2 pi. And in this case, 2 pi would be 6 pi over 3. So this is equal to the sine of 5 pi over 3. 5 pi over 3, going to find that on my unit circle. The sine of 5 pi over 3 is negative square root of 3 over 2. All right, again, I'm going to subtract 2 pi, aka 6 pi over 3. And that gives me tangent of 1 pi over 3. Find pi over 3 on my unit circle. Tangent of that is the square root of 3. All right. Cotangent of 11 pi over 2. All right, so I'm going to subtract 2 pi, aka 4 pi over 2, which gives me cotangent of 7 pi over 2, which is still too big, so I'm going to subtract again, which gives me cotangent of 3 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2 I do have on my unit circle. So here's 3 pi over 2. And remember, cotangent is cosine divided by sine. Cosine divided by sine means that the cotangent here is 0. All right, cosecant of negative 5 pi over 4. I'm going to add 2 pi, except this time it's going to be 8 pi over 4. So this is going to be the cosecant of 3 pi over 4. 3 pi over 4 is on my unit circle, but I don't have the cosecant. I'm going to have to use the sine. The sine of 3 pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2, and I'm going to have to flip it and then rationalize. So that gives me 2 square roots of 2 over 2, which is simply the square root of 2. All right, secant of 23 pi over 6. Again, I'm going to subtract 2 pi, which in this case is 12 pi over 6. So that gives me the secant of 11 pi over 6. So I am going to find secant of 11 pi over 6. Here's 11 pi over 6. The cosine of 11 pi over 6 is square root of 3 over 2. So I'm going to flip that and then rationalize. So that's my answer there. Oh, you can't see that. 2 square roots of 3 over 3. All right, moving on. Find a calculator approximation. So this is where we're going to punch it into the calculator. Make sure you are in radian mode. Radian mode. And we always go to 3 decimal places. We're in radian mode. So to check that, I go to mode, and I was not in radian mode, so I'm going to select radian mode. And then I'm going to go through and do these here. So cosine of 1.85, I'm just literally going to type in cosine of 1.85, and I get negative 0.276 because I'm going to 3 decimal places. All right, tangent of 0.5419, 0.602. Cotangent, I don't have a cotangent button, but just like before, I'm going to do 1 over tangent. Mr. Carlson is calling me. Hold on. Okay, we're back in action. So cotangent of 1.3209 is the same thing as 1 over the tangent of 1.3209. So that's exactly what I'm going to type in. And that gives me 0.255. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So 1 divided by cosine, negative 2.92. Negative 1.025. Okay. Approximate the value of theta in the interval from 0 to pi over 2. So that means I'm in my first quadrant from 0 to 90 degrees, if you want to think about it in terms of degrees. Cosine of 0.9. So I'm just going to do inverse cosine of 0.9. And theta equals 0.451. And remember, this is radians, okay? 0.451 radians, not degrees. All right, secant theta equals 0.75. Well, if secant theta equals 0.75, that means cosine theta equals 1 divided by 0.75. So I'm going to do the inverse cosine of 1 divided by 0.75, which gives me an error. And that is because 1 divided by 0.75 is bigger than 1. So there is no solution. There is no angle that has a secant of 0.75. Remember, we've mentioned it before that secant is always going to be greater than 1 or less than negative 1. And cosine will be between negative 1 and 1. All right, last example here. Find the exact value. That tells me I'm going to use my unit circle to solve. So find the exact value of b in the interval from pi to 3 pi over 2. Pi to 3 pi over 2, that is quadrant 3. So I'm in quadrant 3, and I want to find a value, an angle, whose tangent is 1. Well, let's take a look at quadrant 3. Boom. Right here, 5 pi over 4. That's my answer. All right, that is it for the 3.3 notes, and we'll see you soon.